What's going on, everyone? We got a little surprise video because we caught a job over the weekend, so we're going to do a little hot wash of it. So we're going to dive right into it with the size up of the residence before it was on fire. So here's a picture of it. It's going to be a single-story wood frame. At the time, it was $11.50, so we're assuming it's occupied, but unknown occupancy because the initial call was by a neighbor, not the resident. But now that we've gotten the size up and you've seen a picture of it before the fire, let's dive right on into it, and we'll show you some videos and pictures from the night of the fire. So like we said, we got a single-story ranch. As you can see, we got heavy fire showing from the Alpha Bravo corner. The chief on scene advised the first due engine is stretched to the front door, and that was changed to the rear door upon arrival. So we made the stretch, obviously started making a knock on the fire, which we'll briefly see in this video. We had two major concerns. One of them being was water supply, which thankfully was not an issue. The second one being that the ceiling was tongue and groove construction, which is a pain to pull. So our options were to either obviously make access through the attic through the interior or hit it from the outside. We didn't know at the time that the attic was split up into two different spaces, one of them having access inside and the other one not. Of course, the one that we needed to make access to from the interior was the one that didn't have access. For those of you that don't know what the tongue and groove construction is, it's pretty much just wood. So in this house, there was a layer of sheetrock, and then there was rafters, and then there was tongue and groove. Here's another video. As you can see, we're making a knock on it. At this point, fire's through the roof, and this is above the tongue and groove, so we can't get to it unless we start pulling that, which you'll see we make a knock on the fire, and then we start opening up. The other half of the house on the Charlie Delta side, that one had access, so we were able to knock the fire in the attic on that side, which it did extend. So we were able to make a pretty decent stop on it and hold it to where it was. And like we said, water was a concern, but it was not an issue. So this entire part of our jurisdiction has no hydrants. So we have a tanker in our firehouse. Our first due piece was just a pumper. It was 1,000 gallons of water. And then the second due piece was a ladder with 500 gallons. And then the third due piece was a mini tanker with 2,800 gallons. Like I said, this really wasn't an issue though, because the initial crew was able to knock the fire with half the tank from the first due engine. And then obviously just for overhaul and cleanup, we used the rest of the water. So once we were able to get a little bit of a knock on the fire, two of the members from the initial line broke off. They conducted a primary search, and then the crew from the ladder that was second due, they also assisted with primary search as well as secondary search. And then the tanker that was third due had a full crew on it, and they pulled the backup line and obviously assisted with fire suppression on that Alpha Bravo corner where we said we couldn't get to our attic because there was no access. So overall, there were a bunch of things to take away from this fire. One, the tongue and groove construction. You need to be mindful that if your jurisdiction has it, you will have a very difficult time pulling it if you have to get to the attic. And number two, just the water supply and water sources that are in your area, obviously. Like I said, this area, there were no hydrants, and it wound up being a tanker operation. And this is off of a main highway that has water mains all down the road. So although the area might have hydrants, one side street might not have a main that goes down it, and the nearest hydrant might be a few thousand feet away. So just to wrap this up, we're going to show you a picture of the fire aftermath. So looking at the house, you'll see obviously that the Alpha Bravo corner is burnt up pretty good, but if you look at the Delta Alpha corner, it's pretty good condition, and the inside of it, we saved the bedrooms, and the backside, a lot of the property made it out. So hopefully you guys can learn something from this and take it back to your department.